Today, we take you to the heart of it all, the 10th edition of GIS Expo. For 3 incredible days, we captured everything from forward-tilting crane bases, pushing design limits, to 240-ton-meter giants redefining power, and of course, the latest generation of loader cranes, setting new standards for precision and control. But it doesn't stop there. We also explore the evolving world of spider and mobile cranes, where agility meets innovation. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we are diving straight into the machines and the ideas shaping the future of lifting. This is GIS Expo.
Right now we're at the Cormach stand, and behind me we've got an old tried and tested 50-ton-meter crane. See, that one is awaiting installation. There is one already behind me, one of the 4 booms sticking up in the sky, also 50-ton-meter, and yesterday we showed exactly the same model mounted on the trucks. And now let me, through the little journey around Cormach stand, let me show you what impressed me the most. Okay, so let's start the journey with the smallest one here on the right hand side. We've got a 50-ton-meter already mounted, beautiful yellow and green, similar to the colors we saw back in the Netherlands with a different brand. Next we've got 110-ton-meter mounted on 4 axles. This one I'll show you in a minute. This is the highlight of the day, and this is the one that impressed me the most. As you can see, the configuration of the stabilizers, it's mind-blowing. Take a look at this colossal size of the stabilizer. It's probably 3 meters high. It's a monstrous, like a dinosaur. It's got 3-stage extension, 1, 2, and 3. There's not enough room to actually spread them all apart. It's mind-blowing. Let's talk about a little bit more about this biggest Cormach 240 here present at the Cormach stand. This is the tallest leg because it sits above the other leg on the other side, and these 2 legs, the front legs, are set at 90 degrees in relation to each other, or 45 degrees to the right and 45 degrees to the left. This leg is sliding inside, and it's also pivoting. So basically you release the pin, and I'm not quite sure because I don't know much about Cormachs and I haven't seen it stowed away. Does it actually flip all the way up, or does it stay like halfway in and then is being shoved in? Not sure, so we'll have to ask the manufacturers about that. And moving on to the back, the rear legs, you can notice they are swivel legs on both sides. So basically the rear legs can be adjusted based on the requirements. You can keep them narrow, as in this case scenario, obviously being mindful for not slewing too far to prevent the crane being toppled over, or you can set them as wide as apart. Not sure what's the maximum range. It's probably similar, 45 degrees away, maybe a little bit more on the other side. It's got a 2-stage extension. The front legs have 3-stage extension. This leg is not pivoting up, it stays solid because you've got the space. You need to slide it inwards and put it just behind the last axle and the box. From the first view we've noticed the front legs, the maximum pressure on the front legs is set at 48.5 tons. The rear legs are set at 45 tons. Let's move on to the most important part for the crane operator, which is the duty chart. The load chart says, without the fly jib, this crane can lift nearly 32 tons at 5.6, nearly 5.7 meters, and at the full extension, having 9 booms out, it's reaching to 23.23 meters, and it's capable of lifting nearly 6.5 tons. That's impressive. So last week back in the Netherlands, if you remember, we experienced the test lift by Cormach 150 performing the 20-ton lift operated by Rick from Van Hoft Transport, the vehicle that was built by Rush Cranes, which are specializing in offshore and enormous size and demolition cranes. They've built one of the world's biggest demolition crane, so they know what they're doing. That would be a great challenge for them. I would like to see them performing the test lift with this Cormach 240-ton-meter. Okay, let's move on to the next in line, which is the second biggest loader crane here at Cormach. It's the 185. The same we saw at Bauma, even the same color scheme. This one is quite a bit different because it looks like it's been turned around. The rear legs that we showed at the 240 were positioned at the back of the vehicle. This one is positioned the other way around. The crane is sat on the back, but the cross-stab leg system is positioned on the front, and the set legs system is positioned on the back. In terms of key differences of the Cormachs and other brands, we've been talking with a number of Cormach related operators and bodybuilders, and they claim that the subframe for the Cormachs doesn't have to be as substantial as for the other brands, which obviously adds less to the overall vehicle weight. We also know that the operating pressure for the Cormachs is quite a bit lower. We've read that most of the big cranes run at 320 bars, other brands run at 350 or 370 bars. And the next key difference, you can take a look at the central positioning of the boom nested between two hydraulic rams positioned in front of two columns. As I mentioned before, the load chart is always most precious piece of information on the crane. So let's have a look at this one. Cormach 185, 185 ton meter crane without the fly jib, because that's what we are most interested in. The maximum lifting capacity at the close range at 5 meters is just over 27 tons, and at the full capacity, full stretch, which is 8th extension, reaching to over 20 meters, is capable of lifting just under 6 tons. Onto the Palfinger Italia stand, and here on one side of the display they've got 3 vehicles, 2 with the Volvos and 1 with the Scania. The first one has a Palfinger PK 1050 tech, which is all tried and tested. Shout out to Ivan Flebus, because he's already happy owner of the one. Next we've got old tried and tested, the previous version from the tech, a PK 92002 on the Volvo FH. And here is the brand new PK 1350 tech, 9 extension main boom and 6 extension fly jib. We've spoken to the technical support here at Palfinger Italia, and Mattia, he taught us a little bit about the internal changes for the crane. Obviously the lower column and the boom is exactly the same as the previous version, which is the PK 135002 Tech 7, but on the inside, this is where all the magic is hidden. They've changed the control valve from the box Rexroth to the HiDAC LX6. They claim it's up to 10 times smoother than the predecessor of it, which is pretty crucial for any refinements or any precise movements or slewing. Let's have a look at the load chart and compare if it actually differs with the PK 135002 Tech 7. At the closest range, at about just over 4 meters, it can lift 21.4 tons. At the full extension, it can lift 3.7 tons at 22 meters. Add the fly jib to it, and it gives you, on the maximum extension, just over 34 meters, and it can lift over 1 ton. Moving on to the rear of the vehicle, because it's such a short chassis, it's under 10 meters length and so powerful crane, they had to add extendable stabilizers. In this case, there's 2 of them extending out to the back for all those heavy lifts happening at the rear of the vehicle, preventing it from flipping over. So all this build, Palfinger PK 1350 Tech, built on the Daycap Scania, is built for the Tagliavini, built by Nikes, the bodybuilder of Palfinger. Moving on to the other side of the Palfinger Italia stand here, we've got another couple of already mounted cranes on the vehicles, one being PK 1050 Tech on the Iveco, new series of Tech series 295, 250 and 370. And finally here we've got the last vehicle, PK 580 Tech, belonging to the same company we covered a couple of years ago, Fassi Costruzioni, which are specializing, if you look up, and right at the top, at the end of the fly jib, we've got a drill bit. That's what they specialize in, drilling rock. As you can see, nowadays, loader cranes have multiple of uses. Not just lifting, but also rock drilling and many other functionalities. As you can see, we are here at Fassi brand, and this is the double special occasion for them. It's the 60th anniversary this year for Fassi, and the second of all, this is the 10th edition of Geese Expo, and it was the perfect moment to align in innovation. Let's take you through the journey of the Techno range. So let's start with the very first model in the Techno range that was introduced back in 2021. The one behind me, F1450 HXP built by OMC Group by the look of it, mounted on the FH Volvo 540, and is the same model of the crane that we saw back in Brabariget in Sweden. Shout out to Jonas. Techno range, what's so different about it? First of all, the new shape of the boom. X design, which is the decagonal boom, allowing for the lighter structure, which translates into more capacity at the longer distances and also more stronger fly jib, which with the use of the ProLink system allows the fly jib to be set at negative angle of -20 degrees, which is pretty advantageous for all the quirky and tight axis penetrating jobs indoors. Everybody asks why Techno? So Techno is the new stability system allowing the operator choosing between two functions. First of all, you can define the stability of the system based on the leg extension for the crane. The second of all, you can switch to the digital bubble depending on lifting requirements. If you are lifting something high but with the limited amount of space, then you switch to the bubble. If you're lifting something far with no restriction of the space, you can basically revert to the leg stability system dictating the control. Let's talk about a little bit about cool details that the manufacturer allowed the bodybuilder to place their labels right under the Techno label. OMC Group right on the cover for the hydraulics and all the valves inside, one on the main column of the crane, and then we've got another one on the fly jib. How cool is that? We are right in the midst of Jekko stand. They currently have 10 vehicles present on their stand. Let's take a look at this interesting bit of kit. JCX-80, which is a telescopic crawler crane. At the current position, it looks like a tower crane because the main boom is positioned fully upright, 90 degrees to the ground, with a fly jib sticking out. What's interesting about this JCX-80 is available with a pass-over mode, which means the whole base, like a kind of a triangular base, moves forward, allowing to rise the base of the boom to 2.7 meter height. Great for reaching over some kind of buildings or obstacles below the level of the crawler crane. Next, what we can say, this crane weighs 11.7 tons as it stands. You can also attach a blade to it for extra stability when you reach over far down or up above the obstacle. Now, while we're at the rear of the stand, let's move on to the Fassi collaboration with the Jekko, because this is a JF545, a 54-ton-meter Fassi crane mounted on the Jekko tracks. This is exactly the same machine that we saw being loaded up at Lift and Load by Ingmar Riederhoff from Compact Crane Verhur. Shout out Ingmar. Let's have a quick glance over the technical specs on here. According to this information here, the maximum lifting capacity without the fly jib is 15.5 tons at close range. The total weight of this crawler crane is just over 17 tons. Maximum vertical reach is 32.5 meters with the fly jib, and maximum outreach horizontally is 30 meters. It's impressive for such a small compact. This is the length, this is the width, this is the height. So the height is 5,830 millimeters, just over 5.8 meters. The width is just over 1.8 meters. And the height is just over 2.8 meters. Let's cover a little bit more of spider cranes. This is BG Lift CWE 525. It's done with collaboration with Effer 525, as you can tell by the shape of the boom. It's the similar sort of crawler crane that we saw back in Bauma at the Zaunrith. Only the difference was this is the half of the size of the one at Bauma. That one was Effer 1000. From what I understood, BG Lift has always been all about things on tracks. All the spider cranes, bigger versions, crawler cranes, pick and carry cranes of the smaller nature. But here behind me, we've got something of the bigger size. This is a massive platform, multi-purpose platform. This platform weighs 10 tons and is capable of loading 40 tons, so altogether the vehicle can be 50 tons. It's a tiltable platform, so it's great for moving along at a slow speed because it can only travel at 3 kilometers per hour. It's perfect for any difficult access terrain such as slope of the mountains. It has a 5-degree range sideways, 8 degrees on this side, you can tilt it down lengthways, and I think it's another 5 degrees on the side where the engine is. I'm not sure if you can see by this infographic over there, but from what we can tell, this multi-platform construction not only allows you to transport heavy containers, like in that example, but also you can transport stillages, concrete mixer, and all sorts of round pipes, tubes, and this sort of elements. So it's a great all-arounder. Here's something that struck me like lightning. I only thought that BG Lift only does things on trucks, but here it is. It's built on the 8x2 Volvo chassis. And it's not a loader crane, and it's not a mobile crane. It's something in between. It's like kind of a hybrid, because the main boom is actually a mobile crane, and the fly jib makes it a loader crane. They call it a compact mobile crane T4000. Let's talk about a front stabilizer system. The manufacturer opted for the square design rather than the cylindrical. Kind of resembles the X-stub, which is the front stabilizers are protruding slightly forward to the front of the cabin. Why does it matters? Because it reduces the overall weight, so there is no need for installing the front stabilizers in front of the cab. So the stability of the crane over the front is retained. Moving on to the back, it's not just a mobile crane. Like I said, it's a kind of a hybrid in-between version. It doesn't have any load carrying capacities, but it has some kind of like a checker plate for some small accessories like chains, slings, and all sorts necessary for lifting, for example. Also, it has some kind of storage built in along the boom. On the back, we've got stabilizers, also squared ones, but they're not positioned as an X, as a cross. They are standard legs coming out 90 degrees directly next to the vehicle on both sides. On the back, we've got some pockets for the stabilizers' feet, which are detached at the moment. Also, it has a VBG coupling, which is, to us, it tells us that this is kind of a mobile crane with the trailer towing capacities. Let's move straight. I'm just looking at this, and I think it looks like this vehicle is ready and prepared for being powered from the external source. So you can kill off the engine if you need to work within the indoor setting or any noise sensitive area. You can plug it into the external power source, and off you go, lifting quietly and emission free. As we know, this crane meets both worlds between a mobile crane and a loader crane, so let's have a look at the technical aspects of this. Because we've been told that with this kind of crane we can position between 180 and 200 ton meter if we were talking in the loader crane terms. Let's have a look at this. The lifting capacity of this crane is 40 tons. That's really good going. I assume it's without the fly jib. The maximum working radius is 42.5 meters. The maximum lifting height is 48 meters. Not sure what that means. Maximum lifting height underground winch, minus 62.5 meters. I don't know, maybe we set up and you try to lift something down the dam maybe, for example. The dimensions, the height is 3.44 meters. The width is 2.55 meters, which is the standard. And the length is 9.8 meters. And the total weight of the crane, excluding accessories, is 18.4 tons. So I assume on this chassis, which is the 4-axle 8x2 Volvo, give or take at 10 tons for the chassis plus 18 ton of the crane, just over 20 odd, so it's within 32 ton limit for this vehicle. So for those of you that don't know how the spider cranes came into existence, they were invented in the far Japan in the late 90s. And they originally were called as crab cranes. The need for shifting stones and lifting them in the graveyards was the original need for those little beasts to be invented. Let me present you now with a company from Poland. Befard, from the southern of Poland. And here is the biggest invention, the TB30002, which currently isn't yet available on the website. Let's find out more about it. This particular example is able to pick up 5 tons and carry it to its destination. This TB30002 has 3 options of powering. It can be powered by the diesel engine, traditionally, battery pack, or it can be plugged in to the external source. Also, what we've just noticed by looking at this machine, look how steep you can position the main boom. It's almost like a tower crane. Look, it's nearly vertical. Because this is the very, very first production from the Befard of this particular model, let's take a look at the duty chart, because we all love the duty charts. And this particular crane lifts 10 tons at a minimum distance of 2.7 meters, 5 extensions on the main boom, and it's possible to lift horizontally 1.3 tons. And when you take it all the way up, it's possible to lift 1.7 tons at the height of 18.3 meters. If we add the fly jib horizontally, it's possible to lift 390 or even 400 kilograms at the distance of 23 meters. You can lift 700 kilograms when you take it up to nearly 26 meters vertical. My next vehicle in line is significantly smaller one, because it's a pick and carry, I would say it's a crawler crane, capable of lifting 800 kilograms and driving with it. These particular vehicles are becoming more popular in situations where the space is very scarce and you need to lift at close range. This particular one has got 2 extensions with a searcher hook on the top. It's possible to turn the slew ring by the 25 degrees either side, either to the right or to the left, and you can slightly increase the lifting capacity by positioning 2 hydraulic legs on the front. And the key difference of the similar vehicle, which is slightly bigger, this is the 1200 kilograms capacity pick and carry, but the key difference is, if you looked on the smaller one has the legs, this one's got the blade, so it's extremely useful when you come to the bulky and uneven grounds. You've got some pile of sand or something, and you can basically flatten it like a bulldozer to make your clear path to your lifting position. So we've covered the lower lifting spectrum here with Befard with their biggest spider crane in the range, which is the 10-ton one. And now let's look at something completely different on the other side of the lifting spectrum. Here is the mobile crane belonging to 40. This is a Tadano AC 7.450-1, which is the 450-ton 7-axle mobile crane. As it stands, it weighs 80 or 84 tons, with additional counterweight of 155 tons, if I remember right. In the super lift configuration, it can reach, with the fly jib, 150 meters and extend to 50 meters out, and it's capable of lifting this exact 10-ton spider crane at that distance. Can you believe it? How cool is this? Welcome from the Hiab Effer stand here at Geese Expo 2025, and here just right behind me we've got the latest innovation of Hiab IQ 708, which a few of them have already been sold, and let's talk about more what they've got present on their stand. Let's start from the top right corner here at the stand. They already have 3 cranes with the already mounted vehicles. The first one here we've got Effer 955. What I like about it is the front leg stabilizing step system. It's pretty slimlined. It doesn't protrude too far forward, which is great. I like it. Let's move to the back. The Scania chassis is a day cab. You can see it doesn't take as much space as the, for example, British makes. The next thing that comes in mind, we've got this red cap, which is responsible for connecting the socket. I mean, this is the socket for the external power source, and we can confirm it by this inverter motor control. So in any emission critical and noise critical situations like indoor lifting, you can switch off the truck engine, power it to the external power source, and control the PTO without the emissions and without the noise. Also here at Craneformers, we believe that every truck should be like a Swiss army knife. It should be self-sufficient and have everything it needs for any lifting task. So, for example, I like all sorts of necessary accessories on the truck, such as Aluexbeams, which you can position easily on top of the headboard. Moving on to the second build in row, we've got new version of Hiab IQ 1188, which surprisingly is mounted on the older chassis of Scania. It's unusual because normally we get things done all the way around. There's a new chassis and the older crane. Here we've got new crane and the older chassis, Scania V8 R580. As we come to the third vehicle in line, here we've got Volvo FH540 featuring Hiab X HiPro 638, also featuring the multi-lift. As you probably saw back in Sweden where we were at Brabariget, you saw a multitude of vehicles with exact functionalities. Such a multifunctional vehicle can be a beneficial addition for the companies such as demolition or metal processing or anything in those lines. So next we've got the highlight of the Hiab stand here at GIS Expo, the Hiab IQ 708. It's a long-awaited 70-ton meter crane because the last one was discontinued in 2011. And this one is featuring the brand new version of the boom, dodecagonal V12 boom, allowing for increased performance. And it's slightly longer because 8th version model is able to reach 20.5 meters and is capable of lifting 2.1 tons. At the close range, it can lift just over 11.4 tons at 5 meters. The overall weight of this crane and the jib, the manufacturer claims, is 8,519 kilograms, so just over 8.5 tons. Also, this model features the brand new Space Evo stability system and the brand new Oldsberg Valve V200. The benefit of the all-new Oldsberg's Valve V200 is increased precision performance. And I can second that because I've operated quite a few different models of the cranes and I found Hiab to be extremely precise. Okay, next let's have a quick glance at the Copma stand here at GIS Expo. Next to me we've got the beefy 1400 Copma. Next they've got the biggest at the stand, which is the Copma 1800 right at the back. In front of it we've got Copma 1000. Also they brought two already mounted vehicles, but let's take a look at this special build. This is the Copma 820. All tried and tested 820, already working in Sweden, by the way. Shout out to Henrik Nilsson. He's got exactly the same model on the Volvo, if you can recognize, on the Tridem axis. The reason we found this particular vehicle of Copma so interesting because of the unique design of the stabilizer's leg system versus the traditional tiltable leg, which offers limited travel distance. You can see it's only a foot, maybe foot and a half, the distance from the ground. It's not very helpful for the purpose of the vehicle such as this one, which is used by the environmental agency in case of any natural disasters. And the nature of the jobs dictate the conditions at which this vehicle is working on any uneven grounds. And why is this so important? You can see the ram travel, the travel of the ram is so great. So when the ram travels up, it stops here. But if it's not enough, you can move the whole cylinder within this sleeve by using this hydraulic ram, and the whole cylinder moves up. And technically and potentially in real terms, you can set up this leg at this height. You would never be able to do this with a traditional leg. That's why this crane is so unique. Do you remember back at Bauma earlier on in the year, we showed you this prototype, which I really liked, the baby version of the smallest spreader beam. The Aluexbeams have it in their range. It's a 2-ton bag lifter weighing just 13 kilograms. And next here we've got laying the biggest version standing on its own feet. The beam weighs 138 kilograms and the plus sign stands for the double extension. Connie is gonna present it, how easy it is to actually extend the beam. And this exact beam is also used by the Greek operator, shout out to CMX. And now this exact beam is also now available in the Southern Europe, in Italy, through Eurotrade. So, as we all know, Craneformers is all about loader cranes, and I thought I know everything about them, but since we've started coming to the events like GIS Expo and Bauma, you can always learn something new. And the brand behind me is exactly the brand that nearly slipped away from our radar. Quietly and nicely hidden in the southeast of Italy, has been present since 1983. The brand is called HiCrane from La Meccanica SF. So here behind me we've got the HiCrane Hi 751, which to my understanding is about 75-ton meter crane as per the name. And let's have a look further down what they've got to offer. Here we've got a Fuso Canter, 30-ton meter crane with a small form factor, taking maybe just over half a meter, and the tipper version of the body. Wow, look, a 30-ton meter crane, and it has 4 stabilizers, 2 on the front and 2 mini ones on the back, look. And they looks like they even extend maybe half a meter. I could really find this useful on the London streets. Nice, tight, space-saving design. No sleeper cap, so you don't have to sleep. I wonder if I could fit in it, if I could only open it. Okay, welcome from the JMG stand here at GIS Expo. Here behind me we've got 2 examples of indoor cranes. They've done the collaboration with Cormach. As you can see, the white Cormach is a 95 ton meter. The one behind it, the blue one, is a 50 ton meter. 2 differences. This one here is designed for purely indoor use, as you can tell by the white tires, non-marking tires. The one behind me is built on the non-marking tracks, which we will have a look in a minute. What is interesting about this, instead of using the straight boom, they've made a collaboration with Cormach because of the articulated boom with the fly jib for any quirky situations in their nature. What else we can say is the front and back stabilizers, they are part of the counterweight. You can see here 2-phase extensions with the counterweight on the top, and same on the other side. Of the leg system is extending rearwards and frontwards depending on how much counterweight you need for lifting. A quick touch point I wanted to highlight. You've got cylinders, well, it's not cylinders, it's a mounting for the pin on both sides, and it acts as an opening. The part of the leg is the door, so basically you remove one of the pins on either side, you leave one in, you swivel the leg out, and you can get the access to your hoses for your maintenance or in case it bursts. Let's come around to the back of it. These 2 examples, as you can tell, they are equipped with the full electric options to become more compliant, green and quiet. That's the most important thing when working indoors. Emissionless. You don't produce any fumes because of diesel engines and petrol engines, so that's a really good advantage working indoors. Both options currently are equipped with the lithium powered batteries. They also come with the lead acid battery option, and they're now experimenting with the hydrogen as well. In terms of weights, the bigger version of this machine on wheels weighs just over 29 tons and it is equipped with the 95 ton meter Cormach, capable of lifting just over 17.6 tons at 4.3 meters and just over 3.4 tons at 18 meters without the fly jib. With the fly jib, got a maximum capacity of just over a ton at 30 meters. Let's move on to the smaller version, which is on the tracks. This is the 50 ton meter crane, weighing just over 20.3 tons, and it's equipped with a 50 ton meter Cormach, capable of lifting just over 9.4 tons, if I remember right, at 4 meters, and just over 1.8 tons at full stick, which is just over 16 meters. Remember back in Bauma in April, early on in Germany, we saw Zaunrith Effort 1000 on tracks. Here we've got Cormach 50 ton meter crane in collaboration with JMG, which are specialists in indoor cranes. This particular vehicle is featuring both extendable stabilizers, serving also as a ballast, which is extendable to the back and also to the front. As we are nearing the end of the event, we've come across the Hoeflon brand. We spoke with the marketing team and all the representatives from the Hoeflon brand, but we were stopped by the rain, so we couldn't record much. However, it's worth mentioning. For example, this C10 Hoeflon has a cool attachment. This is a multi-function attachment called multi-tool, and at the minute it's connected with the multi-claw, very precise bit of kit. Also, the attachment can be dropped and can be replaced with a multi-fork. So you can have a pallet fork attachment, or you can have a multi-vac, which is like a kind of a vacuum suction for glass, for example. Hopefully at the next occasion we'll be able to explore all the range of the spider cranes and we'll be able to see them in action. Next, here we are at the PM stand, which recently has been acquired by the Japanese brand specializing in mobile cranes, Tadano, which also expanded their spectrum of lifting by Vala, which is the pick and carry crane, PM, which is the loader cranes, and all the different types of aerial platforms. And I wonder what the future will hold for the PM series and whether the technical advantages of Tadano will be transferred into loader cranes. And now let's have a talk about the differences of these three different crane models and their leg systems and what's different about them. First of all, so this is the smallest version of the crane here on this trailer, the PM23.5, which is the successor of the crane I used to operate for a bit, PM23. Let's see how the leg system is designed and what it does. So you got the extendable cylinder for the support feet. You suck the leg up, you close the valve, then the oil flow is transferred to the tilt-up leg. But before you do that, you need to undo the safety catch, pull out the pin, carry on with charging the hydraulic pressure to suck the leg, and then the sucking motion actually turns the leg upwards. You put the pin back into its locking position, put the safety catch over, and then you suck the leg in all the way. So that's the first leg sorted on the smallest crane. The middle version of the crane, which is the PM40.5, has a slightly different system. Same sort of fashion. You suck up the cylinder, the ram disappears inside the cylinder, you press that lever to its horizontal position to unlock the safety pin, then the leg swivels up with the use of the chain. Once the leg is up in an upward position, you slot it in to lock it, and then you suck it away. That's ready for transport. And on the biggest version out of here, which is the PM83.5, same fashion. You suck up the ram, it hides inside the cylinder. But here we don't have the manual lever. It's some sort of electrical switchover valve. In some way, something that I don't know because it's a new upgrade. It used to be a mechanical valve like on the smallest version, but on this one it's slightly different. So if you know, you can tell us in the comments how do you switch over from the sucking mode into the tilt mode. Anyway, once the leg is in, you've got a similar sort of fashion. You undo the safety pin, slide out the main pin locking the leg, you slew it up, tilt it up, lock it back in, and then hide the leg inside the crane base, ready for transport. So that's it for the legs. I was hoping that PM would bring the latest addition to the range, which is the PM135. Unfortunately, we haven't seen it, but instead, Tadano has showed us the highest crane flying the Tadano flag on their 300-ton mobile crane with the 6 axles. AC 6.300-1. So, as the 10th edition of Geese Expo has come to an end and everybody started to wrap up, so do we. Thanks to the organizers of Geese Expo 2025 and all the brands present for showing you guys all their latest achievements and diversity in the loader cranes industry, but not only loader cranes industry, spider cranes and mobile cranes as well. Follow for more because we're gonna show you the finest bodybuilder from the Netherlands. And don't forget, see you soon and keep on lifting.